Quick note before starting. This video, I recorded it at 4 a.m. and that's why some of the things that I'm saying here don't make fucking sense. Okay, you've been warned. Hello, it is I, Kekfun, the guy who forgot that this channel was a thing, recording this at the last moment possible because I forgot that I needed to at least compromise with this and have a video a week. Welcome back to the Slob channel where I talk about my life and shit. So, the story for today is quite a personal one, and there will be delicate subjects to talk about. So, just as a warning, um, there's going to be talks of stuff such as mental health, drugs, and suicide. So, before starting, those are the trigger warnings. You've been warned. Uh, I don't even know what someone does if they don't listen to them. So, like, I don't know. Don't complain, I guess. The one story that I wanted to talk about today is about how I thought for about 2 years that my ex-boyfriend, specifically my ex-boyfriend who I dated for about a month or something. It wasn't all that long now that I think about it. I thought he was dead. So, let's get started by my situation at that moment. This is the year's 2025, and I had just ruined a friendship uh because I started getting feelings for this friend, and those feelings were not reciprocate, and I did not really respect that. I am not proud of that, I will admit. It's not something good. And I was killing some time by playing on the Topnet Discord server. For those who don't know, Topnet used to be this Minecraft server that wanted to dethrone Hypixel and like make a new generation of Minecraft servers. But it turned out not being okay. It turned out just being a massive failure. But on the time that it was live, I was on the Discord server and I was trying to find people to play with since I quite liked the games there, even though at their core they were not the most interesting thing. Which was surprisingly hard to find now that I remember. Like barely anyone was playing. Like it was a very big contrast compared to MCC Island, which at the time was like I don't remember if it was at like their peak. I don't remember if they were like out of closed beta yet. But yeah, MCC Island was like it was gonna be like MCC Island, and then there was gonna be Tubnet as like the two big ones. And so one day I look at the VCs and I see some people there, and this is where I meet the person of the story, who we're gonna call. Gee, what's a good fake name for there? Let's call them Firecat. Yeah, let's call them Firecat. So I meet Firecat, and a thing that is always true to me is that I find voices really attractive. How so? Um, this is mainly because of like how what's the word? How chronically online I've been, but there's nothing that I find more attractive than a good voice. Like if you have a smooth voice and like and cute, like I swear to God, I will fall head over heels for you. My DMs are open on Twitter, by the way. But yeah, we all had a bit of fun. We goofed off on the server a bit, and I get a DM. I think I got a DM from Firecat talking about like keeping touch. I or it was either them DMing me or it was me. I honestly don't remember. So I had this DM and we start talking. And the thing with Firecat is that at least at the time they were a person with, dear God, that they certainly had a life, because every single day I had a call asking them to vent, and because I'm Kekfont, I allowed them. I am always glad to like be the one guy to hear you out, even if I'm not the best at it. I always enjoy hearing about people's problems. not enjoy as in like, oh yeah, yes, please, your suffering feeds me. No, not. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like I enjoy being the person that people can go to. I am quite comfortable like having friends venting to me and just being there for basically be a shoulder to cry on. I'm not quite liking how this is turning out, to be honest. Um. So yeah, most of our talks was him venting, which like if if you have a friendship that is mostly based on venting, the logical thing to do it would be to like basically set some boundaries and say, hey, maybe it's not that cool that you're looking after me just to talk about your life. Like I get it, you're not in the best moment right now, but still, like I also have my own issues, you know. But for some reason, the 2023 me, I think it was 2023. It must have been 2023. 2023 me absolutely loved getting vented on. Like, oh yes, sir, please tell me about your day. Oh, something horrible happened to you? Dear God, please do tell. It does sound horrible, but that's kind of like the person that I was. I don't even know why I chose these colors. Those are ugly. I think this is gonna be the ugliest city that I've made this far. And so that's how our friendship, quote unquote, begins. By him just venting, venting, and venting. He told me that he was a person who was on medication because they had depression and they constantly had to take their meds. This will come up later. And our friendship for a bunch of time just begins. It's just him venting to me and me from time to time trying to bring in some advice for him to feel a bit better, at least temporarily. And since I already explained that for some reason this was a turn on for me, I started getting feelings for this guy, for Firecat. And at the time, I really thought it wasn't reciprocate, and if they were, then it would have been better for us to not be a thing, because Firecat is a polyamorous person, and I am very, very monogamous. Like, to the point that, like, it's mainly because I would say that I'm very jealous and possessive, and I honestly, like, I do not do well with sharing a partner, someone that I love dearly and that I want for myself. So, yeah, polyamorous relationships are not for me, but I still pursued this one because, dear God, I thought this guy was cute. And so I started thinking about these feelings that I started having for him, and I come to the conclusion that maybe it's best for me to not have these feelings because that's mainly how it all went down with the previous friendship that I said at the beginning, where I since it was also a friendship, quite based on venting, and I just had a feeling that it was going to be the same thing again, and I did not want that. So I told Firecat all this stuff, and I told him that maybe it would have been good for us to cut ties from them. And on this, I actually confessed my feelings, which honestly, no, it was not a first. It was definitely not a first. And the answer that I get from Firecat was like, if I remember correctly, and I quote this till this day, yeah, I also have feelings for you. I just didn't know how to tell you. And like the way that I'm saying it, it doesn't sound very confident. And that's because it didn't sound any confident at all. Like if anyone with a working brain would hear that, they would be like, "Oh yeah, they're bullshitting me." But I ate that up very easily. I am not proud of that. So yeah, I fully believe that they wanted me as a partner, and we began quote unquote e-dating. And by which I mean nothing changed. It was just more venting, which in retrospect I find hilarious. So we then just kept on talking. I kept on getting worried for them, and they basically, I highly doubt that they're watching this, but it really felt as if they did not see me like a partner. Yeah, shocking. After the way that they confess, quote unquote, to me, truly a shocker to get to know that they did not want me at all. Um, and so we had some talks, and it was like, okay, yeah, our relationship's gonna change. We uh, we will stop with the venting all that much, and we'll just be a quote unquote just couple. Turns out the venting didn't stop, mainly because I'm an enabler. Like I just enabled their venting over and over again, and I kept on getting jealous because they also talked about like other potential partners and polyamory and all that, and I felt inadequate. So yeah, wonderful relationship. And I don't remember when, but it comes to a point where I start realizing some of this stuff about these feelings that I have. And it finally clicks into me that turns out maybe I was not feeling love for them. That most likely what I was feeling was a sense of protectiveness because I didn't want this person had who had seen a who had known me and that I knew that they were suffering a lot to I didn't want them to suffer more. So I on the worst thing that this is the worst thing that I did on this relationship. If you're dating someone, just fuck that. If you're dating anyone, don't do this. Um, but I broke up with them over text. I know, it's scummy, it's not good, but I genuinely could not face myself to do it because I knew that if I called them, there was a very likely chance that it would be another venting session and that I would get distracted and I would end up not telling them, hey, I want to break up. So I broke up with them over text and I never heard from them. I tried contacting them, I tried seeing about what was up with them, but I didn't find anything under their account, under the account that they gave me, or at least nothing new. And so years passed and I still didn't get no news. I saw him not being on the social media that I knew of. So I firmly believe that this guy was dead. Mainly due to his poor mental health. I firmly believe that this guy had kicked the bucket and was no longer with us. And that was originally how this story was going to end up. Just me saying, hey, I did not have a good relationship. This guy was not good with me and all that. Up until one thing happened. I was seeing the newest Twitter cancellation. I think it was Cinder, the VTuber that did a lot of scummy stuff and just said that, oh, it's business. But it made me want to go and look back at my history that I had with Firecat. Mainly in case I was misinterpreting something or it turned out that they weren't dead and they were just like a corpo VTuber. That was my biggest theory at the time, that they just became a corporate VTuber and so they abandoned that persona. And so I go to Discord, I search her chats, and I find out that the only way that I had in order to get those chats back was to send the account a friendship request because I had unfriended it and I had blocked it. And anyone on the right mind would be like, no, not worth it. Let's just go. Let's just do something else. But I was eager to know what happened, if I was remembering correctly or not. And so I sent a friend request. And I did not pay much attention to the friend request once I got the DMs with Firecat, but once I did, I noticed something interesting, and that was that Firecat's profile picture had changed. Had changed drastically, even. And that impulsed me to send a DM. Actually, it was a friend request, because I needed a friend request to send a DM properly. I sent another friend request, and turns out in like a couple of minutes, it got accepted. And our conversation was basically, dude, you're alive? I thought you were dead. And they said, bro, I thought you were dead. And when they said that, I was like, okay, wait, what? Why did you picture me to be the one on the poor mental health? Like, Out of all things, you really let it kick the bucket that easily. Dear God, I'm not okay with that. And I was legitimately not okay with that. And so, after that, me and Firecat decided to catch up a bit on our lives. And turns out they had the biggest glow up known to mankind, or at least that I know of. Okay, so first of all, turns out that he, during all of our relationship, was under substance abuse of antidepressants. This came out as a shocking to me, but then I remembered some stuff and I was like, yeah, that honestly that checks out. So yeah, I I understand that it's understandable. It does not come off as a surprise, even as offensive as that sounds. And turns out that on these 2 years that that we thought that the other one was dead, he became the I think the lead singer. I didn't ask him correctly, but if I'm correct, they became the lead singer of a punk band, of a punk rock band, and like that's so fucking cool. And they were like, yeah, I became the singer. I'm on a band. It's really cool, and I also have a new partner. And like I actually had a bunch of partners ever since we broke up, and I was like, oh yeah, I didn't. I did not really have many. I don't. No, actually, just period. Didn't have a partner ever since, which I still find funny. And I was texting one of my friends at the time, and I was like live texting them like, "Hey, they're alive. This and this is happening. Oh my god. Oh my god." And as I told them more and more about my ex and about Firecat and how they had changed, my dearest friend said basically send me a bunch of messages saying, "Bro, you fumbled the bag so badly." And I was like, "Yes, I know, but either way, if you ask me, no, I would not date Firecat again. I am through with that. I do realize that I fumbled the bag a bit, but like I don't want a relationship with them again. And yeah, like turns out they've been quite well ever since. They became the leader of a punk band, which I mean I don't know if they're the leader. I know that they're in a punk band, but I don't know the extent. And basically we had a good time just catching up, which was really nice. It was really nice. We didn't end up in bad terms, or at least I would like to think so. We didn't really touch much on the subject of our relationship other than like, okay, we both agree that we fucked up badly. We were not good partners at all. And so we talked, and there was a feeling inside of me that said, huh, I really believe that this person was dead, but if anything, they've never been more alive. Like, that was like such a boom moment in my mind. And honestly, I'm glad for Firecat. Even though they were not the best partner, and that also I was not the best partner by subsequent, I'm still glad that we had the relationship that we had, because at least I managed to learn some stuff about myself. Mainly that I don't want to be in a polyamorous relationship ever again. Either way, it was shocking to see how much their life had changed. It was honestly just insane. Like, I thought this person was dead for 2 years, and turns out they they become cooler than me. Or at least I would argue they are now cooler than me. It also led me to think about where my life had been, because they kept on telling me about all this cool stuff that they ended up making. Well, I honestly I just feel as if I just ended up stuck on the same place that I was once we were dating. And if anything, I think I legit came out of that call thinking, huh, they became so much cooler and I just became so much lamer in comparison. But then I realized I am not all that lame. At least I would like to think that I'm not that lame. I I am onto my own stuff. I am a college student studying the one career I think I can do, and I have all these things on the side. I actually did a stream on Sunday, but I am glad that Firecat is still alive and they're doing so much better now. So I guess that moral of the story. Okay, I had to cut through right. Okay, so I had a whole morale going up to this, but then I accidentally pressed the Windows key, and that showed some information that I cannot tell. Long story short, my ex is now much cooler, and I believe that I've gotten a bit lamer over the years, but I'm just Kek font, and I don't think that's all that lame. But yeah, that's been it. Hopefully I have more videos prepared. I'm not all that comfortable with how the town ended up, but yeah, there's only so much that I can do. Uh, but yeah, I'll see you later. Have a nice one.